Hi, friends. I'm Scott Giles, and welcome to Power Talk, my podcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. I cover topics related to spirituality, hypno-coaching, and the hypnotic arts and sciences generally. If you want to know more about my professional work or sign up for my free e-newsletter, Power Lines, check out my website, which I'll tag at the end of this video. It's often said that history repeats itself. There are humorous variations on this theme as well, but the serious one was actually articulated by George Santayana, who in his 1905 book, The Life of Reason, said, "Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it." Now, like I said, there are humorous takes on this. One person said that those who do study history are condemned to have to deal with the crap created by fools who do not study history and should have known better. And then there's my absolute favorite saying about this from attorney Clarence Darrow, who said, "History repeats itself, and that's one of the things that's wrong with history." Amen, brother. Now, it's also a reliable theme in spiritual literature that things tend to recur. As the writer of the Old Testament book of Ecclesiastes put it in chapter 1, verse 9, "What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun." And the great Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius put it when he said that history is the same thing happening over and over again. Here's the exact quote: "There is nothing new in human nature. The only thing that changes are the names we give to things." Now, he's kind of right about that. I mean, we don't call it plague anymore. We call it a pandemic. We don't call it treason anymore. We call it a vigorous expression of political opinion. We don't call them sweatshops anymore. We use words like contract labor or uncompensated overtime. But different names, same things, basically. While technology is progressive, I don't think people are. People are as nasty and as abusive towards each other as they have always been. The means change, not the plan. So, how does the philosophical person respond to this? Now, my intuition does say that there are patterns of human behavior that tend to repeat over time because human beings, regardless of when they have lived, have similar interests, needs, and responses, in many cases, responses that are determined or at least influenced by our biology and neurological systems. But does that mean we are helpless in the grip of a predetermined fate and must tolerate being part of a species that keeps making the same mistakes over and over again? I say no. While we should learn from history, that does not mean that the force of history is causal and that we have no choice about that. Now, for those people like me who do study history, we can look back at what did happen and learn from that things about what could happen again. But the word to get there is could, not will happen again. The fact that the Holocaust happens means that something like that could happen again. To the degree that we have agency about such things, the moral obligation is to try to prevent bad stuff from happening. But we shouldn't be paralyzed by the possibility that something like what happened in the past could happen again, because it might not. And that is the logical point that a lot of people miss. Just because something did happen in the past and it was bad, and that it could happen again, does not mean that it will. If it does, people will retrospectively look back and see the connection and similarity. But there are probably an infinite number of times when something bad from the past did not get repeated. We simply notice the times when it did because our brain is biologically programmed to remember bad stuff better and to find connections between bad stuff in the past and present experience, because our brain is constantly trying to keep us safe. And it keeps us safe by amplifying fear. We don't notice the times when something bad that happened in the past does not recur, because you can't notice something that did not happen. Therefore, it is a counsel of depression and despair to believe that historical troubles necessarily repeat, because they don't. Yes, people do tend to make the same mistakes as people from the past, but some don't. And that's where human agency comes in. History doesn't necessarily repeat itself. We only notice those times when it seems to, but there are lots of times when it does not. Therefore, the philosophical person will be on the side of paying attention to what might go wrong today and working to prevent it. History doesn't have to repeat itself. We only notice when it does. Jokes notwithstanding. Hey, thank you for your time and attention today. I'll be back next week with another talk on a different subject. I'd like to invite you to join me. It does help me if you let others know about my work and my videos, so please like, share, and subscribe. And if I can be of help to you, feel free to reach out through my email, website, or my Patreon channel. Have a great week.